Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another episode of Music Biz Chat with me, Phil Aston. This is the segment, the show, the overview of what I feel is going on within the music industry in relation to CD sales and vinyl sales. So what is the future of vinyl in 2024 and indeed the CD in 2024? Well, if you're in the UK, you've probably seen information coming across your feeds on social media and in the news that physical music, CDs and vinyl are on course for the first increase in 2 decades from 2004. This is fantastic news. Seriously, this is fantastic news. I do these updates on what's going on in vinyl sales and CD sales a lot. And usually, when I talk about where a lot of this data comes from, which comes from Music Week. Music Week is the music industry kind of trade magazine in the UK. I'm always kind of pointing out that they're leaning towards it's vinyl. And, you know, I know when you put any kind of publication together, you've got to get people to click on the news. And so there's always kind of vinyl outstrips CD, vinyl overtakes CD. In this one, the CD is mentioned, I would say, equally in the terms of how vinyl is doing as well. This is so exciting. It really is. Right, here we have some stats. Now, the half-year figures from the official charts company BPI are showing increased momentum, sales up 3.9% in the second quarter. At the same midway point in 2023, physical albums growth was still negative. Okay, 0.03%. Okay. And while the 12-month result on the whole last year was down 1.1%. And we've been seeing this over and over again, you know, with physical sales taking up 12 to 15% of the market when everything else has been streaming. However, overall, physical album sales have not registered a year-on-year increase since 2004. When there was a 2.6% uplift to 163.4 million copies, physical copies of an album sold. The 2004 total also underlines the decline of physical sales and the subsequent shift to streaming over the last 2 decades. I mean, streaming, as I said, takes up 87% of all music consumption. And the vinyl boom, which I know it's always discussed this, and there's tons of websites and YouTube channels talking about vinyl all the time, has not been enough to drag physical music into positive growth in recent years, because the CD, which is still the dominant format in unit terms, has seen constant and quite large declines up until now. Because that is about to change. Because superfans, that's us, everybody, are changing that. Vinyl collectors, CD collectors, alongside initiatives like Record Store Day and HMV Vinyl Week. Let's hear it for HMV. Because when we have Record Store Day, they're not allowed to take part because they're not seen as an independent record shop, but they're in the same place. Sometimes they're struggling as well, and I don't want HMV to disappear from the high streets in the UK at all. So physical sales revenue has been increasing, even including an uplift in income from CDs in 2023. The first overall units increase could mark a turnaround for the sector in 2024. Proper Music Distribution, and I get a lot of stuff sent by them, have reported record shipments from their new Bicester warehouse in the UK. I think this is fantastic. Yes, of course, we're seeing things like Taylor Swift's long-running The Tortured Poets department has been a huge seller as well. Rod Stewart, Jules Holland, Liam Gallagher, Billie Eilish, Last Dinner Party, Dua Lipa's record as well. All of these are pushing physical music forwards all the time. I'm going to come back to this and that segment of the market and those artists in a moment, because it's something I want to say from my own personal perspective. Now, this quote is from Dr. Joe Twist, who is the CEO for BPI. And he said it's heartening to see that after years of significant declines, the CD market is potentially on the up again. Could have said that. I mean, I know it's great having this as a platform because, from the private group we've got on Facebook, which is a great market research tool in many ways, is full of people who buy physical music. And we have a broad reach of people and demographics, and people are buying CDs as well as, if not more than vinyl. So breaking down physical sales momentum so far this year in 2024, vinyl is once again the driver with a 12.4% year-on-year increase in the first 6 months. And it's stronger than it was this time last year. CD sales are slightly down, but only 1.5%. But bear with me why this is going to change. It's a drop of about 75,000 CDs overall, which isn't a great deal, really. It's a significant slowing down of what we've seen over recent years. However, industry insiders feel that the CD is now set for its own revival. And the decline in the format is literally 0.8%. Sometimes in the past 20 years, it's been at over 20% decline. It's now less than 1%. I think this is fantastic. If you think that in 2023, the annual rate of decline for compact disc slowed to its lowest level since 2015, and it dropped by 6.9%. It's now gone to less than 1%. So we really have leveled off here. And again, going back to Dr. Joe Twist, ever since sales of vinyl LP started rising again more than 15 years ago, the compact disc has been in the shadow of its older physical format. So it's heartening to see that it's now beginning to fight back and is rising. The renewed interest in physical music is also reflecting in the singles market. Now, some of you may think that's not quite true, but as you can see coming on the screen now, there are lots of singles being released, and I have quite a few that I'm going to start to review as well. Now, I also want to mention Lawrence Montgomery, who's the MD of Rough Trade Records, and he says the latest market figures actually understate the results. We are selling double the amount of records and CDs so far in 2024 than we did 5 years ago. And as long as labels and artists continue to value the role in independent shops, we believe this growth will continue. Also, Phil Halliday from HMV and Fopp, love Fopp, they're expecting strong results and are also looking at opening more stores as well. And so that's really good. Now, vinyl is heading for its 17th successive year of sales increases. Now, 17 years is a long time. So all of the cynical people who say, oh, it's the bubble's going to burst, vinyl, it obviously hasn't, has it? It's getting bigger and bigger. It seems to be the only way for vinyl now is to just keep going up. And a key reason for this is the broadening of the audience, which is increasingly younger and female. Now, I mentioned lots of artists that appeal to a younger demographic. This is really, really important because there was a point, because I know a lot of older music fans, when we had the great vinyl call in the 90s and we got rid of lots of things because we were moving to CD, I've been rebuying perhaps some of the stuff we gave away in haste. And so what you'd see in the vinyl sales was always like Rumours by Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, Best Of, etc. It was Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. But now, when you look at the top vinyl sales for each month, it's contemporary, top 20, pop-based artists being bought by a younger demographic. Now, this is a really good thing for those of you who are slightly older than that, who are wondering what's happening with you buying music and buying CDs and records, because if there's more demand for vinyl albums and there's more demand for CDs because a younger demographic is buying CDs as well, then there's going to be more interest and there's going to be more investment and more time to do that box set reissue of that band that only released 2 albums in 1971 and hardly anyone's ever heard of them. It's good for everybody It really, really is. Now, some of you will also cynically say, well, some people are buying these records and they're not playing them. They might be buying vinyl for merch or to play. But does it really matter? It doesn't, does it? Because from a revenue perspective, who cares? If people are buying them and just streaming it and then having the record on their lap to look through it, it doesn't matter at all, really. How people consume their music is not important. But the thing is, as humans, we like to surround ourselves with nice things. And you can't really surround yourself with nice digital files, can you? You know, streaming is good. And streaming works in conjunction with physical music. I mean, I know lots of you, when I do my reviews here, will go off and stream it to see if Phil's making sense or whether you agree with me, and then you'll either buy it or you won't. And I think that's the thing about streaming. Also, you've got everything available to you. Everything is available to you. But condensing it to buying a record and sitting down and just immersing yourself with that album, CD, vinyl record, whatever it is you devoting time to just that one piece of art, really, which is really, really important. Now, as I've just hinted at here, this is also coming from the industry as well. Some of the growth in vinyl came from classic artists, but they're seeing more and more contemporary artists like Harry Styles and Taylor Swift are releasing more material on CD and vinyl, and it's having a massive effect. The CD is still ahead in vinyl. The CD is still ahead in vinyl in unit sales. Okay, that is still the case. The format's resilience helped to deliver an overall expansion in physical volume for the first 6 months of 2024. Yes. I like vinyl. I am multi-format man, as you know. But I've always defended the CD because I love it. And I'm going to tell you in a minute why the CD is going so well. And you'll all know probably what I'm going to say. It's had a much smaller decline. And as I said earlier, there's a prospect of a real upturn in the CD format in the year ahead. Now, K-pop, again, something that many people who watch my channel probably aren't that familiar with, and I'm going to show you, not K-pop, I'm going to show you the way the Japanese are packaging CDs and how they put together pictures, booklets, CD. It's a package. It's a collector's package. And this is about thinking creatively about how to market the CD going forwards, because that's the way it will really, really take off. And other genres are embracing this. I've recently done a review of the T-Rex reissue, which was done like a little 7-inch single with a booklet in the CDs in the sleeves. And this is crucial to its success. Now, Montgomery says here, CDs remain extremely important to us, and we see a strong demand for box sets, compilation and limited editions, and that is where the CD just holds its own. A Madfish box set with 22 CDs in and a coffee table book. Vinyl can't compete with that, but there's lots of smaller, the Cherry Red, the esoteric box sets with 4 CDs and a booklet. It's just perfect, and these are going really, really well. And Rough Trader said that the CD catalogue they have is going to be back in the shops. They're going to have more space for CDs and CD box sets. And isn't that true, everyone? A lot of you buy your Cherry Red box sets directly from Amazon or from Cherry Red, because when you go to your shops, your record shops, they don't have those kind of box sets in the racks, do they? Well, that sounds like that is going to change. So I think that this is absolutely fantastic news. Now, vinyl prices, because I can't not mention that, can I? Now, it says here that all the kind of pressing problems about the delays, they've all gone. That we've got new pressing plants. We can press things. That isn't a problem. Now, retailers are at the sharp end when it comes to concerns about price increases, and they really feel that they know that they are testing the patience of music fans. And they need to be cautious about the accessibility of vinyl. The average price of a vinyl record now is £27. And this is, and the industry is saying this, is too expensive for some people. But we're also not maybe realizing that a music fan will buy vinyl, and this is across all age groups, whether you're 22 or 17 or whether you're 62 or 45, whatever. Vinyl is seen as maybe the more luxury item, and this is a special artist, I'm going to go for the vinyl. Otherwise, I'm going to go for the CD. People are buying both. Music fans are buying both formats. I certainly do. I weigh up what's the best option, and of course, if it's a multiple set, then I'll buy the CD box set. But we are seeing more multi-format sets, and I know there was a time when people really didn't like those. But even if you don't listen to the vinyl, having one of these multi-format sets with the CDs in there and the Blu-ray disc and a vinyl one, I just think it's a lovely thing to have. I really do. So that is an update on where we are. And I think this is great news. First time in 20 years. And the CD is about to have a revival on its own at last. But it's great news. This is a channel and a website that absolutely celebrates music in all of its physical forms. And so I found this news incredibly exciting, and I know it's already been shared all over the place, but it is great news. So for those of you, wherever you are in the world, and you're thinking that, God, there ain't many people like me that still bother to buy a CD, not true. So in summary, isn't this great news for music fans and collectors? That it doesn't seem that long ago, and I was one of those people going out and going through the racks in HMV and looking around and thinking, oh, there's hardly anyone else in here doing this. And if they are, they're kind of close to my age. Young people are just streaming. They don't want to own anything. If I go to a record shop now, I am actually the oldest person in there sometimes. And I think that is great news to see young people buying records, buying CDs, and buying both, because all formats can exist together. And what was great about doing this video and this summary is the fact that Music Week and the industry figures, whether it's record shops or record labels, are seeing that both formats are important for the future of physical music, that they need them both. And now with the CD starting to take off again, and seeing that it has its own niche with CD box sets, and the way that CDs can be packaged better with more things in them, making them more collectible, and vinyl, of course, going from strength to strength 17 years in a row, so that's not going to go away. This is a great time to be a music fan and a collector. It really, really is. Thank you so much for watching this, and thank you so much for being with me as we continue this journey, just loving the passion of being around physical music and being close to this art form. And remember, everyone, at Now Spinning Magazine, we have merch, we have coffee mugs, we have t-shirts in all sorts of shapes, colours and styles and designs, and you can subscribe, you mean you don't already, to the YouTube channel, to the website, to the podcast, become a Patreon YouTube member. Just reach out via email or send a message, and it'd be great to talk to you. Thank you so much for all of your support. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Keep spinning those discs, and I shall see you all very, very soon.